Hello and welcome back, guys. We're now starting a new story, Izuku Yagi, the Avatar of the Gods, by Belinsky_simp. You can find author's profile link in the description. Let's begin. Izuku Yagi, the Avatar of the Gods. It's not your fault, Zumo. We couldn't have stopped it. It was our fault, but life moves on. No matter how sad we are, he's gone, and we can't change that. His mother spoke with a calmness that bewildered him. How could she be so composed? She should be grieving, expressing anger, or at least showing some shock. Izuku Yagi, a 13-year-old boy without a quirk, has been confirmed dead after jumping off a cliff. His body was found with no injuries, leading to speculation that someone may have tried to heal him posthumously, the reporter announced. Izumo stared blankly at the television, tears streaming down his face. His twin brother, his closest companion, was gone. He had taken his own life, and Izumo felt the weight of guilt pressing down on him. I just wanted to protect you. Why didn't you tell me they hurt you? I would have intervened. How can I even think of becoming a hero without you, he whispered, his gaze fixed on his brother's grave. Please forgive me. You deserve to become a hero. If anyone deserved it, it's you. I don't deserve it, and neither do Kaken and the others. Only you do, he cried, tracing his hand over the gravestone. It was his fault. He had failed to support his brother in his heroic dreams. He had often dismissed Izuku's aspirations, calling him delusional for dreaming big. He had pushed his brother to the brink by insisting he could never become a hero without a quirk. Their classmates had shown no concern, offering no condolences. You're done with that freak. At least you can become a hero without worrying about a quirkless nobody tarnishing your name as a relative. That boy's cruel words had led to Izumo receiving a month of detention for his reaction. Kaken was the only one who seemed genuinely affected. He cried openly, a rare moment of vulnerability for him. That nerd can't be gone. Kaken shouted, punching a picture of the brothers on the wall. He's not weak enough to die. He should be here. But Izuku was far away, safe in a cave, surrounded by animals that rested peacefully. His green eyes and hair had transformed to white, a stark contrast to his former self. After jumping, he felt pain for only a moment before a warm, golden energy enveloped him. He remembered stepping out of his body, feeling as though he was a soul leaving its host. But he needed no host, his soul became encased in its own flesh and bones. He walked to the cave, feeling lighter than ever. As he sat down, energy swirled around him, moving at his will. He played with it for hours, feeling a sense of power he had never known. Suddenly, animals approached him, curious and unafraid. He tried to walk away, but the birds flocked to him, perching on him. Hey there, he mumbled, confusion rising as the animals surrounded him, including a bear that settled close by. With a sigh, he sat back down and patted the bear's head, which seemed to enjoy the attention. The other animals followed suit, drawn to him like a magnet. While interacting with them, he noticed a rabbit limping. He reached out, and to his amazement, the rabbit's leg healed instantly. Cool, he exclaimed, his hand glowing with magical energy. Is this my quirk? He wondered, realizing it activated under extreme stress. He felt powerful, like a sun god, and created a sword of energy, eager to learn more. He dedicated months to mastering his abilities, preparing for the entrance exam at UA, his dream school. His name is Izuku Yagi. Do you have any connection to an Izuku? The principal asked All Might. Embarrassed, All Might and his wife hesitated, but their son spoke up. My twin brother was called Izuku. He's no longer with us. Nizu nodded. Very well. He will participate in the entrance exam. If his quirk resembles your brother's, we may have complications. Zuku was quirkless, the boy interjected, tension rising in his body. That was why his brother was gone. If only Izuku had possessed a quirk, he might have lived a different life, free from bullying and neglect. I hope he never forgives you two for not caring about him, Izumo had once spat at his parents. Izumo, this is unacceptable. We wanted to focus on your growth, his father replied. His mother added, only you could become a hero. He was weak, both physically and mentally. But he wasn't weak. He truly wasn't. Izuku stood next to his brother and Kaken during the entrance exam explanation by Present Mike, feeling out of place yet determined. Izumo stared at Izuku during the explanation, making him feel uncomfortable. Kaken stood alone, scoffing at every minor inconvenience. You will be fighting against 4 different types of robots, each with a corresponding number of points. Your goal is to earn as many points as possible, the hero explained. Suddenly, a blue-haired teen stood up and voiced his frustration. The papers given to us show 4 robots instead of 3. Mistakes like this shouldn't happen from the staff of the most prestigious school. You're right, young listener. There are 4 robots. However, only 3 provide villain points. The 4th is just a distraction, the hero replied enthusiastically. Izuku was then guided to his simulated city with the other students. He recognized his brother and the blue-haired teen nearby. They were discussing something he couldn't hear, so he decided to ignore them and waited for the gates of the fake city to open for the exam to begin. When the gates opened, everyone looked around, expecting a countdown that never came. Izuku and Izumo rushed in. Izuku quickly found a group of robots and began levitating them, smashing them into each other and destroying them. Izumo, on the other hand, blasted the robots in front of him with golden energy blasts, taking them down effortlessly. The 2 brothers went in opposite directions, each using their unique abilities to shatter through the robots and earn points. What are you waiting for? There's no countdown in a real battle, the hero announced. The students immediately charged in, noticing green metal pieces scattered throughout the city. The 2 Yagis were making quick work of the robots. Your kid is performing great, All Might. He's already climbing the ranks. He and young Katsuki Bakugo are currently neck and neck, with scores almost identical, Nizu commented as the screen displayed Izumo and Bakugo. Destroying robots. They're powerful, but they're causing too much destruction and putting other contestants at risk. Some students are showing better control and acting more safely, Aizawa added, as the screen shifted to show Izuku. Izuku was seen shielding a contestant from a large piece of rubble caused by Izumo's earlier actions. He then created an energy sword and used it to slice through the robots with ease. What exactly is his quirk? He's really fast and strong, considering he casually punched through a robot. But he's also using blasts and creating swords. What is his quirk? Inko wondered as she watched the screen. Nizu glanced at her before scrolling through his papers. Izuku Yagi, parents unknown, age 15, quirk, sun avatar. Nizu questioned, unsure of the last part. The name didn't seem to correlate with the boy's powers. It appears his body is enhanced, and he can manipulate energy in various ways. I need more information to understand the source and limits of his abilities, Nizu continued. I want to see those limits, Aizawa replied, surprising some of the other heroes. So do I, Eraserhead, Nizu said with a smirk as he reached for the red button. The zero-pointer may not be the strongest foe, but it's enough to test both the strength and heroism of the students, Nizu said as he activated the button, releasing the massive robot. The giant robot caused a tremor as it moved through the buildings. Both brothers focused on earning points as they rushed away, only to hear a cry for help. Help, a brown-haired girl trapped in rubble shouted. They both stopped and rushed back to the scene. Izumo jumped, using his strength to punch the robot, causing it to explode. Izuku watched in shock as the explosion occurred. Izumo began to fall, unable to use his telekinesis due to the pain. He thought about how Izuku must have felt in similar situations. Is this how Izuku felt? He mumbled, closing his eyes and bracing for impact. But the impact never came, as Izuku jumped and caught him before he hit the ground. "You're so reckless," Izuku said as he laid his brother down gently. A moment later, Mike announced, "And with that, the practical exam ends. Injured students will be healed quickly. The others may head to the hall for the written exam." Izumo winced slightly in pain as Recovery Girl rushed toward them. "Oh my god, you really hurt yourself," she said, preparing to heal him. Izuku quickly shielded them both, preventing her from getting too close. "Your quirk works on his stamina. He might not have enough to finish the written exam if you heal him, especially with injuries this severe," he explained. "I understand, but he can't continue like this either," she replied. Izuku smiled at her. "And he won't," he said as his eyes and hair glowed golden. He held on to Izumo for a few moments until his appearance returned to normal. Izumo stood up, checking his arms and legs in disbelief. He was completely unharmed. Izuku said nothing and began to walk away. "Wait." Izumo called out, but received no response. Izuku hurried to the exam hall, eager to finish everything before their parents arrived. When everyone settled for the exams, Izumo took his place next to Izuku. Noticing the annoyed expression on his brother's face, he finally understood. "Aren't you—" "Shut up," Izuku interrupted, "and after an extraordinary display of power and heroism, you've proven worthy of entering as a student in its first-year hero course. Welcome to your hero academy, IzukuYagi," a hologram of All Might announced from a small disc inside a letter. With his acceptance confirmed, Izuku had one final task: to design his hero costume. He envisioned something flashy yet fitting for his powers, perhaps a costume inspired by Greek mythology. But that could wait, he still needed to reach the school and find his classroom. "This door could literally fit a giant," Izuku mumbled as he stared at a door that towered over him. He opened it and stepped inside, finding Izumo and Bakugo sitting together while Bakugo argued with the blue-haired teen from the entrance exam. Izuku planned to head to his seat but noticed Izumo rushing towards him. He ignored him. "Please just talk to me, Zuku," Izumo said softly, reaching for Izuku's hand. Izuku pulled his hand away and rolled his eyes. "I don't feel like it," he replied, moving to an empty seat. Some students watched the interaction with confusion. "Enough talking," a voice commanded. Suddenly, a large yellow caterpillar stood up. "The name is Shota Aizawa. I'm going to be your homeroom teacher for the year." The caterpillar opened up, revealing a tired-looking man. "I don't want to hear any more chatter. Get dressed in your sports uniform and head to the training ground for a quirk apprehension test," Aizawa ordered. "But sir, what about the orientation? We'd miss it," Uraraka exclaimed. "We don't have time for these events. You, as hero course students, should be training to improve. As your homeroom teacher, I decide how this class runs," Aizawa replied, stepping outside, uninterested in further questions. Everyone followed his orders and rushed to the changing rooms to get dressed. "Dude, that's a big scar," Denki Kaminari exclaimed, pointing at a scar on Izuku's shoulder. It was a deep white circle, with a darker circle extending down to his chest and up to his neck. "Yeah, it's a reminder," Izuku said, turning to show the scar reaching beneath his shoulder blades. "Where did that come from? And those other scars?" Kirishima asked. "Shitty people," Izuku answered as he put on his shirt. He smiled at the two before heading out, noticing Izumo staring at him with tired eyes. The students arrived at the training ground shortly after and waited for Aizawa to start the test. "You scored the highest in the exam by 78 points. Show me how far you can throw this ball using your powers," Aizawa said, tossing a ball to Izuku. "As far as possible." "Okay, I'll try," Izuku mumbled, standing in a circle and preparing. His eyes and hair glowed golden as energy surrounded the ball, which he launched upwards, creating a shockwave. Everyone stared in awe as Aizawa displayed a device that calculated the strength and distance of the throw. 826 meters. Kaminari shouted. "This is so cool." Mina Ashido exclaimed. It looks like fun. Uraraka added. Aizawa, however, was not impressed. If you find this fun, let's raise the stakes. The person who scores last will be expelled and will no longer continue their heroic path here. This isn't fair. We just got here. Toru Hagakure protested. You're heroes in training. Fair is not an option. Nothing is fair, Izuku replied as he walked away. Exactly. Now, stop with the side remarks and let's start the exam, Aizawa ordered. The exam was straightforward. Izuku scored second in a 50-meter dash, just behind Tenya Ida. He scored first in the grip test at 590 kilograms, followed by Shoji. The standing long jump was easy, he channeled energy to his feet and cleared the distance effortlessly. The repeated side steps were a bit tricky, requiring him to balance on an energy plank, but he managed to score first. The ball throw was the most exciting. Izuku scored second after Uraraka, who used her quirk to cancel the ball's gravity, making it fly indefinitely. What caught Izuku's attention was when Aizawa cancelled Izumo's quirk. If you plan to rely solely on your power, you should leave now. You can't be a hero with a quirk you can't control, Aizawa explained. Izumo nodded and attempted to use his quirk again when Izuku jumped in front of him. Stop being reckless. If using your quirk in your hand is causing damage, find another way, Izuku advised. Izumo's eyes widened in surprise. Was Izuku actually talking to him? Without waiting for a response, Izuku returned to his place. Izumo followed his advice, channeling one for all to a single finger to send the ball flying, creating a shockwave. His score was shown as 5 meters, and he smirked despite the pain in his finger. Izuku walked over and touched Izumo's finger, healing it instantly. Izumo started, but Izuku cut him off. I'm only doing this because you deserve a chance to show your powers. That doesn't mean I'm interested in talking, Izuku said sharply. Izumo sighed, determined to find a way to connect with his brother. The rest of the exams continued. In the distance run, Izuku scored third after Ida and Bakugo. I need to work on my speed, he mumbled to Aizawa, who didn't respond but noted it for later. The repeated toe touches and sit-ups were easy, with Izuku scoring first in both. Once the exams concluded, Aizawa revealed the list of names with their ranks. At the bottom was Toru Hagakure, visibly shaken. I lied about expelling the last student. You may return to your class, Aizawa said casually as he walked away. While the students discussed Aizawa's statement, Izuku noticed a presence behind a wall that Aizawa approached. He sneaked closer, recognizing the presence. All Might. What are you doing here? Aizawa asked. Oh, I was just checking on the students to see who I will be teaching soon, All Might replied with a smirk. TCH, whatever. Izuku scored first. I'm sure that was interesting to watch, Aizawa commented. The hero scoffed before glaring at Aizawa. Toshinori stated firmly that Izuku was a personal matter and that Aizawa should not interfere, as his role was simply to train the students. Aizawa responded passionately, emphasizing that Izuku was not just a topic but a child who had faced neglect and hardship from those who should have loved him unconditionally. He vowed that once Nizu found a solution, he would ensure that Izuku would no longer bear Toshinori's last name and would be placed in a caring home. Toshinori scoffed again, moving closer to Aizawa. He began to question Aizawa's intentions, but before he could finish, Izuku unleashed a blast that cracked the ground near Toshinori's foot. Stop being rude, Izuku said as he approached. Finally came to see your dad. You have a lot to explain, Toshinori smirked, addressing his son. Izuku retorted, I came to see the number one hero who chose to pass his quirk to his son, who already had one, instead of the boy he neglected for being quirkless. Aizawa looked on in confusion, while Toshinori's eyes widened in surprise. I heard you when you revealed your identity to Izumo. You received a quirk when your MSTR passed it on to you, meaning you were quirkless before that. Yet you still chose to neglect me. You neglected me for something that was a result of your actions. But look at me now. I activated my quirk, and I promise you, I will surpass you and become a symbol of safety and strength in this country and the world, Izuku declared passionately. Both Aizawa and Toshinori stared in shock, and they weren't the only ones. Izumo, who had followed Izuku, had also overheard. Meanwhile, Bakugo stood still, grappling with the revelations. Izuku Yagi Deku, how is he alive? How does he have a quirk? What happened to him? He muttered to himself, processing the shock. Izumo was lost in thought, staring at a picture of himself and Izuku from when they were 4 years old, the last photo they had together, as their parents had since pushed Izuku away. He sighed, placing the picture down next to a necklace they had gotten as children and 9 birthday letters Izuku had written for him over the years. He had not received one on his 13th birthday, as Izuku was no longer there to write it. As Inko called for him to get ready for school, Izumo reluctantly set the picture aside. Today was the first study session with their father, who had a big plan. In class, Izuku arrived early and stared at Bakugo's empty seat for a moment before scoffing. As students began to fill the room, Sero asked if anyone knew who their hero basic training teacher would be, speculating it might be All Might. Izuku shrugged, muttering, "I hope not," which only a nearby scarred boy heard. Suddenly, a paper flew his way, and he caught it, scanning the room for the thrower. He found Izumo smiling at him from his seat. Izuku scoffed and crumpled the paper, slipping it into his pocket, while Izumo's expression darkened. 3 sessions of boredom passed quickly, and when lunchtime arrived, Izumo approached Izuku. "Wanna sit with us?" he asked. "No," Izuku replied, walking away. Izumo felt disheartened, wondering if this would be their ongoing dynamic. Izuku joined Ochako Uraraka and Tenya Ida in the cafeteria, while he preferred to sit alone, scrolling through his phone instead of eating. He researched the fastest heroes in Japan, noting Hawks and Ingenium, and contemplated how to improve his own speed. He was surprised to find Shudo Todoroki sitting next to him, the son of the number 2 hero. "Hey, Todoroki-kun," Izuku greeted with a smile. "Hello," Shudo replied, and silence fell between them until Shudo broke it with an unexpected question. "Do you have anything to do with Bakugo Katsuki?" Izuku raised an eyebrow, confused. "Just ignore him," he suggested, glancing at Bakugo, who was glaring at them. Shudo remained silent, though he had more questions he wanted to ask. Izumo, meanwhile, glared at Todoroki, though Izuku remained unaware. As the bell rang, signaling the end of lunch, they returned to class. "I am here." Entering the door like a pro-hero teacher, All Might announced dramatically as he entered the classroom. The students erupted in excitement, recognizing their idol. Izuku watched them with a hint of pity, thinking they had no idea what the hero was truly like. Now, students, let's calm down. I will be teaching you the most important class for Hero Course students, Hero Basic Training," All Might declared. The class erupted in chaos at the announcement. Izumo and Izuku both sighed in defeat. "And for our first training session, we will be having a trial battle," the hero shouted. Izumo mumbled under his breath, questioning if this was his father's plan to make him fight his brother. "One of the perks of being a hero is looking good," the hero continued, as drawers extended from the wall, each containing different costumes. "These were provided to you based on your quirk registration forms and personal requests," the hero announced. The students stared in awe as they rushed to get their costumes. "Get suited up and meet me in the training ground beta," the hero ordered. The class cheered and nodded before heading off. Izuku was the last to grab his costume, still feeling defeated about the situation. "Why are you still here?" Izuku glared at the hero. "You are taking way too long, young Yagi." "A hero shouldn't waste time," the hero shouted back. "A hero shouldn't neglect his family, so you really don't have the right to speak about heroism," Izuku replied as he walked out. He was about to shut the door when he noticed All Might about to speak. "And do not call me by your last name," he added sharply. Rushing to the changing room, he found that everyone had already finished, except for Izumo, who was just about to leave. Izumo was dressed in a forest green full-body jumpsuit with a red belt, black elbow and knee pads, yellow gloves, and his signature red boots. He wore a mask with ear-like protrusions resembling All Might's haircut and a respirator with a smile that mirrored the hero's. The costume was familiar to Izuku, it was the one they had worked on as kids when they decided to become heroes. "Zuku, please just hear me out," Izumo said as he approached his brother. Izuku scoffed and turned away. "I know you're mad at me, and you have every right to be, but please just listen. I think Dad wants to put us against each other in battle training," Izumo explained. "He can do whatever he wants. I'm going to win, no matter who it is that I'm up against," Izuku replied, removing his shirt. The scars on his back made Izumo shiver, feeling a pang of sadness. "Whatever you say, but I just want you to know that I'm sorry, and I wish I could go back in time to stop my younger self from hurting you, baby brother," Izumo said softly. "Do I look like I need your apology? I no longer care about what any Yagi has to say. In fact, I don't care about what happens to any of you," Izuku retorted. Izumo felt his heart break at those words. He knew his brother was hurt, but hearing it out loud was painful. He nodded silently before walking away, tears welling in his eyes. A few minutes later, Izuku rushed out, his costume flowing behind him. "Oh my God!" Momo exclaimed. "You look so good." Mina added, her eyes wide with admiration. "DMN Yagi bro, you're looking ripped." Kirishima chimed in. "Thanks, guys," Izuku replied with a giggle. "You look divine," Izumo mumbled, sadness in his eyes but still wanting to compliment his brother. "I wish you had chosen our shared costume, though," he thought. Izuku nodded and turned around, his back flexing slightly. He wore white robes draped over one shoulder, leaving most of his upper body exposed. A laurel wreath crown adorned his head, symbolizing victory and honor. His arms and wrists were decorated with gold armbands and bracelets, while his legs had golden bands and straps. He completed the look with traditional Greco-Roman sandals and a pendant that hung down to his chest, featuring a vibrant yellow gemstone surrounded by gold accents. As Izuku walked forward, All Might stood in shock, staring at him. "Your costume is definitely revealing," All Might remarked. Izuku shrugged and glanced at his classmates, noticing many of them were also showing skin. Bakugo glared at him, fists clenched, ready to explode with frustration. "Now that you all are here in your costumes, which you all look great in, let's start this test. There will be teams of 2, with one team playing the role of villains with a nuclear weapon, while the other team is the hero duo that will save the day," All Might explained. "So it's an indoor test?" Zero asked. "Yes, it is. Most villain attacks and hero actions occur inside buildings," All Might answered, and the students nodded in understanding. "Have you decided the teams by analyzing our quirks?" Ida questioned, only to receive a shake of the head. "That wouldn't be as authentic as an actual hero mission. In real situations, heroes must pair up regardless of compatibility," Izuku replied. "That's true, young Yagi. That's why we decided to use random draws to choose the teams," All Might confirmed. The students nodded in agreement. Izuku, however, glared at the hero. All Might began drawing names, and to Izuku and Izumo's surprise, they were placed on the same team, Team E. "I didn't expect that," Izumo mumbled. Izuku remained silent, still glaring at the hero. "Neither did I," he thought. "Now, Team E will be placed against Team D. Team D, you will be the villains. You should keep the bomb hidden at all costs. Team E, as the heroes, your job is to find the bomb or capture the villains in time. The villains have 5 minutes to hide it before the heroes step in," the hero announced. Team D, consisting of Bakugo and Ida, nodded before rushing inside, but not before the blonde glared at the twins. "Kaken is going to target you," Izumo warned. Izuku nodded, stepping aside. "Deal with Ida and the bomb. I'll handle him, he ordered. Are you sure? We can both deal with him and then focus on Ida, Izumo replied. Izuku didn't respond and entered the building as the 5-minute mark hit. His twin sighed and followed him inside. A few minutes later, Izuku sensed an explosion approaching and quickly shielded himself. DKU. How are you alive? Why didn't you tell me? How do you have such a powerful quirk? Bakugo shouted, launching attacks that Izuku blocked with his shield. Answer me. Why were you lying to us? You were just there, taking everything like a weakling, while secretly having a quirk. What about your death, did you fake that just to make fun of everyone? Bakugo continued. Izuku glared back and pushed Bakugo backwards with his shield. Rush to the bomb, he ordered before charging at Bakugo. Izumo, feeling defeated, nodded and ran towards the stairs. How dare you lie to me? Bakugo yelled, rushing after him. He threw a punch, but Izuku dodged and countered by twisting Bakugo's arm. I have no reason to answer you, he muttered before sending Bakugo flying backwards. Well then, I'll force your answers out, quirkless Deku. Bakugo shouted, charging again. Izuku dodged another explosion and blocked several more until he found himself cornered. This will make you regret ever lying to me, Deku. Bakugo declared, raising his gauntlet. These aren't just for decoration. They store my sweat, which creates my explosions. I'll leave the analysis to you, he added, preparing to unleash his attack. That's going to be dangerous. Uraraka exclaimed, watching the scene unfold. The rest of the class shared her concern, eyes wide with panic. Try to dodge, Bakugo spat as he unleashed the explosion. With a determined smirk, Izuku smashed through the wall and leaped out, shocking everyone. The floor was damaged, and the other floors shook as windows shattered. Izumo, Izuku murmured, focusing on the top floor. He summoned an energy platform beneath himself and began to rise. DKU. Bakugo shouted, readying another explosion before Izuku could re-enter the building. And with that, the heroes are the winners after young Izuku Yagi captured the weapon successfully, All Might announced through the speakers. No. Bakugo yelled, launching another explosion. Izuku gulped, feeling his powers falter. He tried to summon another platform, but it failed. Closing his eyes, he braced for impact, but instead felt himself levitating slightly above the ground. Turning to look behind him, his eyes widened in surprise. Wings, he exclaimed, noticing 2 large white wings on his back. They glowed with golden energy before disappearing, causing him to fall. Well, that was unexpected, he mumbled as he stood up, brushing off his costume. He encountered Ida, who was carrying Izumo on his shoulder while Bakugo was off in the distance, still complaining. You two seem really hurt, Izuku said to Ida. He managed to punch me in the gut. I would have been worse off if I hadn't managed to dodge. He broke his hand in the process, though, Ida explained. Izuku nodded and raised his arms. I hope my powers work at least, he said quietly. When he touched Ida's chest, golden energy enveloped him, healing his injuries almost instantly. Thank you Yagi-kun, Ida said in shock. Izuku. Just call me Izuku, he replied, touching Izumo's hand and healing him as well. Izumo took a deep breath and jumped off Ida's back. Thanks, he said to both of them. You're very welcome, dear friend, Ida responded. Izuku walked ahead without replying. He's such a sweet person. Why is he so cold towards you? Ida asked. Izumo looked down in shame, unable to answer. He didn't want anyone to know how he had treated his brother. Your plan was reckless. Removing the shield from beneath you nearly cost you, All Might teased Izuku as he entered the classroom. Actually, All Might, the explosion would have caused me more damage. My body could handle that fall with only minor injuries. It was the better choice, Izuku replied, his glare directed at All Might. What about the wings? Have you always had those? They're amazing. Hagekure exclaimed, gesturing excitedly. I've never summoned wings before. I guess it's a part of my quirk that I didn't know I had, Izuku explained. The students nodded, some analyzing his strategy while others remained quiet. Meanwhile, Aizawa and Nizu observed everything, taking notes on the team's performance. The students of 1A were buzzing with excitement the day after the battle trial, discussing their experiences. However, before they could reach school, they had to deal with a swarm of reporters. What is it like having All Might as a teacher? The students bombarded Izuku with questions, eager for his insights. The public is way too fixated on him. There are many other heroes with unique abilities and styles. You're wasting time that could be spent discussing more important issues, Izuku replied, brushing past them as he entered the school. Inside the classroom, the students gathered in a circle, discussing their aspirations in heroics and team dynamics. At least we have Yagi-san to support us. He'd be a great asset on any team, Momo remarked. Thank you, Momo-san. But please, just call me Izuku. I prefer that, he responded. Why not? Aren't you and Izumo twins? He seems fine with it, Ojiro pointed out. Personal preference, Izuku shot back. Their conversation was interrupted as Aizawa entered the room, prompting everyone to return to their seats. I watched your trial battles yesterday, and you all performed well. However, some of you were reckless with your powers, Aizawa noted, directing his gaze at Izumo and Bakugo. Izumo nodded, looking down, while Bakugo appeared frustrated. You weren't focused during the fight, which is a significant weakness, Aizawa continued, now addressing Izuku. I understand. I'll do better next time, Izuku assured him. Now, for today's task. You will be choosing a class representative. Choose wisely, as the representative will speak for the class and communicate with the principal and teachers, Aizawa announced. The students erupted into chaos, each vying for the position. I want to be the representative. Kirishima shouted. No way. I want to be. I can help lessen exams. Kaminari countered. I can get us new uniforms. Mina chimed in. Izumo suggested, why not just vote? But we don't know each other well enough to vote casually, Sato replied. Izuku proposed, we can see who stands out to everyone, even in a short time. Exactly. You can tell who is unique, Izumo added. Just make a decision quickly. You have until the end of the session, Aizawa instructed. Yaoyorozu-san, could you create a box and some papers for voting? Izuku asked. Momo nodded and quickly crafted the items, distributing them to the class. After a few minutes of voting, Aizawa tallied the results on the board. Izuku. Yagi, for Izumo Yagi, 3 Momo Yaoyorozu, 2 the remaining students received 1 or no votes. Thank you for your trust, everyone. I promise not to let you down, Izuku said, standing before the class. Me too. We'll work together to ensure everyone's safety and happiness, Izumo added with a smile. As the class cheered, Bakugo sat sulking, his expression dark as he wondered who had voted for him. The bell rang, and the students hurried to the cafeteria, Izuku among them. I wonder who voted for me, he mused as he and Todoroki ate. I did, Todoroki replied, slurping his soba. Really? Izuku asked, surprised. I did too. Momo chimed in. You voted for me. Why? He asked, wide-eyed. You've shown great leadership and composure around All Might and the teachers, which is essential for our representative, Momo explained. I just think you're cool, Jairu added as she walked by. Before Izuku could respond, a group of reporters rushed into the school. The defense system, how did they get in, he wondered, but was interrupted by the school alarm. Warning, Level 3 security breach. All students, please calmly return to your classrooms and stay with your homeroom teachers. Panic ensued as students rushed to the exit. Izuku quickly created a shield around the door, surprising everyone. It's the press. They broke in. Stay calm, the teachers are out there, he instructed. The students exchanged nervous glances before returning to their seats. That was a great way to keep everyone calm, Momo remarked. Izuku nodded but felt a shiver down his spine. Something feels off, he murmured before rushing out of the cafeteria, startling everyone. Izumo followed closely behind. Izuku sprinted through the halls until he reached Nizu's office, sensing something was wrong. Wait, Zuku. Izumo called, trying to keep up. Izuku burst through the door to find the office in disarray, drawers open and papers scattered. What happened here? Izumo asked, stepping inside. Where's Nizu-san? Izuku demanded. Just then, Nizu appeared. Right here, young man, he said calmly. Are there any cameras in this office? Izuku inquired. There are, but they seem to have been disabled. We don't know who broke in or what they took, Nizu replied. With a scoff, Izuku nodded. It was certainly unusual. How could the intruder even know where the office was? How did you know that someone broke in? The press was clearly a distraction, Nizu inquired. I sensed a strange aura, Izuku replied casually. Nizu simply nodded in acknowledgement. Okay, you two are free to leave, Nizu said. The two boys nodded and headed out. Do you think it's someone targeting Dad? Izumo asked. Izuku shrugged. I don't know, and I don't care. Heroes and their families are targeted all the time. He's no exception, he mumbled before rushing away. Izumo was left behind, feeling confused. Does that mean you wouldn't care if I were targeted too? All right, students, today's training session will be different from usual. We will be training at an off-campus facility focused on your rescue training capabilities, Aizawa announced. Actual hero work. Mina exclaimed. We're doing rescue training. That's so exciting. Hagakure added. The rest of the class cheered, except for the Yagis, who looked at Aizawa, waiting for more information. However, there will be another change, we will have heroes nearby for extra protection. All Might, myself, and another facility member will be responsible for training you, Aizawa explained. Is that because of the recent break-in? Momo asked. Yes. We need more security, especially since we're not inside the school, Aizawa replied. Izuku and Izumo exchanged questioning glances. Had they not figured out who broke in yet? Whatever you wear is your choice. If you plan on staying in costume, head to the changing rooms, then to the buses in the parking lot, Aizawa instructed. The students nodded and rushed to the changing rooms, all deciding to wear their costumes. What's that necklace, Izuku? We don't see it while you're in your hero costume, Denki asked. It's nothing. I just like to keep an accessory with me, Izuku mumbled, placing the necklace in his pocket. Oh, you have pockets. I never noticed that, Shiro remarked. Izuku shrugged with a smile, noticing Izumo staring at him. That necklace looks like the one we got together, but it can't be, can it? He hates me, he thought. Izuku quickly donned his costume and rushed out of the room toward the buses. Do you think you can summon your wings again? Aizawa asked when he saw Izuku. I don't know. It happened once and hasn't happened since, Izuku replied. It would be great for your speed, Aizawa said. Izuku tilted his head. I heard you talking about needing speed. If you can summon your wings and train with them, you'll become faster. Look at Hawks, his wings have made him one of the fastest heroes despite being young and inexperienced, Aizawa explained. Izuku nodded, considering this as he noticed the rest of his classmates arriving. All right, everyone, please enter the bus and take your seats, Izuku instructed. The students complied and rushed inside. Well, the slow part went unheard, he mumbled as he stepped in. Problem children, Aizawa sighed. The bus took off as soon as Aizawa and Izuku entered. Izuku sat next to Shuto, Momo, and Jiru, while Izumo, Tsu, Uraraka, and Ida sat in front of them. They discussed quirks and future careers as heroes when Tsu mentioned the Yagis. Izuku would be great as both a support hero for healing and a main battlefield fighter considering his powers, she said. He and Yagi could be amazing together if he didn't dislike him, she added. Izuku scrunched his face at that. We're here. Everyone, please head to the entrance, Aizawa announced as the doors opened. The students rushed outside, and Izuku noticed his brother looking at him with tears in his eyes. He hurried out, clutching his pocket. No way was that how everyone saw him. They approached the entrance where the Pro Hero 13 stood. Both Yagis and Uraraka stared at her in awe while Izuku rambled about her powers. Head inside, and let's start. All Might will be arriving shortly, Aizawa ordered. Everyone complied. Beneath them was a vast center surrounded by various rescue scenarios. The students stared in awe, discussing where to start until the electricity began glitching, and a purple warp gate appeared in the middle of the facility. That strange aura. They're doing something to the entire area. Ida, head out and rush to class immediately, Izuku commanded. But, listen to him, Aizawa interrupted. With a sigh, Ida rushed outside. The other students looked on in confusion at the exchange. How perplexing. All Might was supposed to be here, the gate suddenly spoke as several figures stepped out. Why isn't he here? Everyone came to see the symbol of peace. Do we really have to harm some kids for him to show up? If so, then go, I don't want anyone alive, a man with blue hair sneered. Why are there villains here? Isn't this supposed to be rescue training? Mina asked. They're actual villains. The alarms aren't going off for some reason, so they're masking their presence. Or, considering the strange aura around the campus, they might be using a quirk to affect all the electrical devices, Izuku explained. The students stared in shock. 13, stay with the children while I deal with those villains. You all remain here, and Kaminari, try reaching the school using your quirk in case Ida can't get there in time, Aizawa ordered as he jumped down to confront the villains. With determination, Izuku rushed behind him, summoning an energy shield. What do you think you're doing here? Aizawa shouted, kicking a villain backward. You can't take them on your own. Most of them aren't strong, but that mist creature, the blue-haired man, and the strange bird are radiating powerful and ominous auras, Izuku said, shooting the shield forward and sending a group of villains flying. The mist creature suddenly appeared next to the students. Aizawa must have accidentally blinked. Izuku remained focused in the center, assisting Aizawa in taking down the villains. As they fought off the villains with ease, the mist creature teleported the students to different locations within the facility. He must have some form of teleportation or warp quirk. That man also seems to have a strong quirk, but the bird creature is abnormal. It's like it has more than one soul, Izuku mumbled as he shielded himself from incoming attacks. Ida definitely still hasn't reached the school, and our devices are still not functioning, he continued, blasting a group of villains away before summoning another shield to block an attack. He scoffed, transforming the shield into an energy hand that he used to grab the attacker and throw him at a blue-haired villain. You brat, the villain shouted as he dodged. Oh no, Izuku muttered, sensing something behind him. Before he could react, he was struck and sent crashing into the wall. The bird, he gasped as he struggled to regain his footing. The creature lunged at him again. Izuku quickly created a shield, but it shattered easily under the creature's powerful punch, causing him to cough. The creature towered over him, attaching itself to the wall before delivering another blow. Izuku spat again, glaring at the creature as he conjured an energy blast to push it away. However, the creature remained unfazed. What the, he began, only to be hit again, sending waves of pain through him. He created a sword but couldn't use it before the creature seized his arm, twisting it painfully. Ugh, he groaned, but then noticed the bird being pushed back. Izumo had punched it after Aizawa cancelled the creature's quirk. However, this left Aizawa vulnerable, and the blue-haired villain touched his elbow, causing it to start disintegrating. Izuku retaliated with a blast, knocking the villain's hand away, giving Aizawa a chance to escape to safety. Yagi! Aizawa shouted. Izuku's eyes widened as he turned to see why his teacher called out, only to feel darkness closing in. He stammered, unable to look away from Izumo, who was being held by the neck. The creature screeched as it tightened its grip, making Izumo struggle for breath. Izumo managed to whisper. Izuku felt a surge of energy as he focused on his brother and the creature. Izuku, calm down. Aizawa yelled, striking the blue-haired villain. But Izuku didn't hear. His eyes glowed with golden energy, and 4 massive wings appeared behind him. He let out a powerful screech, surrounded by golden light, as his scars began to glow. Get your hands off my brother, he shouted, his voice echoing as if many were speaking through him. The creature screeched in response, but before it could react, Izuku was upon it. He punched the creature with a force that shook the entire facility, shattering windows and causing the ground to tremble. The creature was sent flying outside, and something fell from Izuku's pocket next to Izumo. Zizuko, Izumo murmured as he tried to stand. An energy shield surrounded both Izumo and the object as Izuku launched forward, charging at the creature still reeling from the impact. The creature crashed into a building, stopping after shattering the ground beneath it. It leaped to attack Izuku, but he met it with an energy-infused punch, creating shockwaves that cracked nearby glass. "No one hurts my brother," he shouted again, forming an energy orb that grew larger than the buildings around him. "Don't touch him," he yelled as he launched the orb, resulting in a massive explosion that engulfed the creature and several buildings. Amidst the chaos, Izuku prepared to charge again, but suddenly, objects flew toward him. He countered with an energy blast, destroying them. "Rude! My feathers," a voice exclaimed. Izuku turned to see Hawks narrowly dodging his attack. "Dude, what's wrong with you? Can't you wait a little before trying to take me out?" Hawks asked. Izuku screeched in response, launching himself at the hero and sending him crashing through buildings. Before he could pursue, he was struck again, sending him through several structures. "Don't fear, because I am here," All Might declared, landing on a nearby building. "No. We are," the pro-hero Magnetica added. Izuku, or whoever was controlling him, recognized their voices. "You. Give me my brother now," he shouted, charging at All Might. The hero blocked the punch, creating a shockwave that rippled through the area. "Calm down, Izuku. Stop this immediately," Inko commanded, sending rocks flying toward him. Izuku scoffed, pushing against All Might's strength while unleashing a massive energy blast that obliterated the incoming rocks. "That's enough," an unfamiliar voice said as someone restrained Izuku. "Let's see how you deal with fire," the person said, igniting Izuku's body. He screeched, trying to break free, but All Might struck him, sending both of them backward. "Don't touch my brother." Izuku shouted once more. "Wait, what?" Endeavor questioned, feeling a chill as ice encased him. "What the hell is he? How many abilities does he have?" Endeavor wondered as he unleashed flames at Izuku. Magnetica followed suit with a barrage of rocks, and Hawks joined in with feathers aimed at the teen. All Might charged forward to punch him, but with a sweep of his wings, Izuku sent everything flying away, slowing the hero's advance. "Give me my brother." Izuku's voice lowered as the energy around him dissipated, and he fell to the ground, unable to move. The heroes turned to see Aizawa with his quirk activated and Izumo standing next to him, unscathed and holding a gold piece. "Is that the villain that entered the school?" Endeavor questioned as he descended. "No, that's a student," Aizawa replied, shocking the number 2 and 3 heroes. "Never knew you were this funny, Eraserhead. We should definitely go on a mission together," Hawks remarked, walking forward with his hands in his pockets. I don't joke, Aizawa said coldly. No way, Hawks responded. Are you saying a student just fought against the 4 top pro heroes? Endeavor asked. That's not him. He would never cause this much damage. It's like something took control of him when he saw his brother hurt, Aizawa noted, looking at Izumo. Hurt? Questioned the number 3 hero. He healed me, Izumo immediately answered. Well, how about we talk later? He's still there somewhere, Inko suggested. The heroes froze for a moment before rushing toward where Izuku had fallen, noticing golden energy flowing from his body. He still has stamina. Hawks murmured as he tried to step forward. Aizawa stopped him. Suddenly, energy exploded from Izuku's body. Stop him, shouted All Might. But before Aizawa could act, the energy spread, and everything began to revert to its previous state. The rubble was enveloped in golden energy for a few seconds before levitating and taking form. Every crack slowly closed as the area returned to its original state. Even the buildings that weren't destroyed were repaired, with cracks in the windows disappearing along with any damage. He's fixing everything. Endeavor exclaimed. Almost, Aizawa replied, pointing at the damage done to Izuku's body. He's repairing the destruction he caused, Izumo added. Even when he isn't awake, he would never accept causing this much chaos. He walked toward Izuku and sat beside him, his eyes welling with tears as he held his brother and placed the golden piece on his chest. It was a heart-shaped necklace with a picture of both brothers inside. It was the necklace they shared. So all of that happened because his brother was hurt? Hawks asked, still confused. Aizawa nodded. Izumo held his brother close, quietly sobbing. So you do care about me, baby brother. The day Izuku lost control left a lasting impression on everyone. The civilians present were surprisingly accepting. He's just a kid who lost control. Before anything could happen, we were all surrounded by shields, and not a single person was hurt. Plus, he fixed everything afterward, so there's really no reason to keep commenting on it, a woman interviewed stated. However, those who weren't present were less forgiving. He shouldn't plan on being a hero if he causes this much destruction just because someone was hurt. He's like a demon in angel's clothing. No real hero would ever allow himself to cause this much damage. I really think you should reconsider who they allow into their classes. Either kick that boy out or place some collar to shock him whenever he's out of control or something. The pro heroes faced scrutiny after the incident, with the public questioning their ability to handle the situation, realizing they struggled against a student. We weren't going all out to avoid causing more destruction. If we wanted to defeat him, we easily could have, Endeavor stated. The world should be glad there's such a powerful upcoming generation of heroes. We can improve ourselves, but everyone should know that the teen's power isn't a nightmare but rather a dream for the country, Hawks added. The public is taking this too far. It was a kid who overreacted. If we had been fighting a villain, it would have been completely different, All Might responded enthusiastically. Magnetica ignored the questions surrounding the fight, simply stating, it's not something worth commenting on. Throughout all of this, Izuku remained in the hospital, unconscious due to the stress his body endured. Over the week, Aizawa and the teen's classmates took turns visiting Izuku. The one person who stayed the entire week was Izumo, who would go from the hospital to school and back. He's a strong child. He'd make a great hero, Hawks remarked as he entered through the window. Hawks. What are you doing here? Izumo asked in surprise. Came to visit and check on the kid, he caught my interest, Hawks replied. Izumo nodded, sensing there was more to it. After a week, Izuku finally stirred awake. He moved for a moment before slowly opening his eyes. He looked around before starting to cough heavily. Zuku, he heard someone shout. He turned to see Izumo standing by the door. The green-haired boy rushed to his brother, embracing him and patting his back. Oh my God, you're finally awake, he mumbled, tightening his hug. Izuku coughed until he managed to speak. Why are you get off of me, he shouted. Just shut up and stop acting tough, baby brother. I saw how much you did for me, and I have this, Izumo said, pulling something from his pocket. It was Izuku's necklace. Izuku's eyes widened, and he felt himself blush in embarrassment. He quickly snatched the necklace away and looked down. Izumo let go and poured him a glass of water from a nearby table. I'm sorry, Izuku mumbled, hugging his legs close. Izumo looked at him with confusion before sitting next to him. You have nothing to be sorry about, Zuku. I'm the one who's sorry, he said. I couldn't talk to you. I couldn't face you after everything. I felt weak whenever you came up to me, Izuku admitted. Izumo's eyes widened as he quickly held his brother's hand. You're not weak, Zuku. We pushed you too far. If I had known anyone hurt you, I would have confronted them. I never wanted you to get hurt. That's why I tried to steer you away from becoming a hero. I couldn't bear the thought of you getting injured because of what I perceived as weakness, but I've realized that you were never weak. You've always been the strongest person I know. Izuku broke down in tears, prompting his brother to move closer and hug him, receiving a hug in return. Did I hurt anyone after I lost control? All I remember is attacking that creature and your parents, Izuku asked. No, you didn't hurt anyone. Well, you did hurt the 4 top pro heroes, but they'll recover. Oh, and you told Mom and Dad to give you back your brother, which was amusing to hear, Izumo teased. Oh, Izuku mumbled. You called me your brother like 5 times. It felt nice, Izumo said, making Izuku nod, still blushing in embarrassment. I would love it if I could be your big brother again, Izumo added, his eyes welling with tears. That seemed to finally break through to Izuku, who tightened the hug around Izumo while sobbing. Me too. I would love that too, big brother, he stuttered. Izumo smiled at that. He had his brother back. The two stayed in peace for a few minutes until Izuku sighed. How's everyone in class, he asked. None of them are hurt. The villains escaped after they saw your breakdown. Everyone is currently training, Izumo explained. Training? What for? Asked Izuku. Oh, for the school sports festival, Izumo answered. We're joining the festival. Izuku exclaimed. Yup. Isn't it exciting? We have a week left to train. You can learn to use your wings until then, Izumo said. Izuku looked around in shock until he noticed 2 huge wings extending from his shoulder blades. Oh my wings, he mumbled. Izumo smiled as he touched one of them. We thought you were going to become an angel in heaven. I guess we got one part right, he giggled. Izuku chuckled back and nodded. They definitely got one part right. After leaving the hospital, Izuku felt uneasy as people recognized him, murmuring about him as he walked by. It's that U.S.J. kid. He doesn't look as intimidating as he acts. It's surprising that such a pretty boy could cause such damage. So I have to deal with everyone's comments whether I'm quirkless or not, he mumbled as he stepped into his class. Izuku-kun. Momo was the first to greet him as he entered, his wings dragging behind him. Hi guys, he shouted enthusiastically, feeling more positive after everything that had happened. The students rushed towards him, complimenting his strength. It was scary, dude. But really cool. Kaminari exclaimed, shaking Izuku. Why yeah, thanks, I guess, Izuku replied, giving a thumbs up. Never thought you'd do that for Yagi bro. I'm scared of fighting him now. I don't think I can survive that attack you did, Kirishima said. Yeah, you went all out after they hurt Yagi-kun. Mina added. Protective baby brother, Izumo teased, sticking his tongue out while sitting on a table. Izuku rolled his eyes. Don't take it for granted, big brother, he shot back, sticking his tongue out too. Everyone stared at the two in confusion until Shiro noticed Izumo glaring at him. 5 more days until the festival. Izuku asked as he sat down next to his brother. Yup. It's going to be great for us. We'll have the chance to show our abilities to the pro heroes there, and we might even get internships with them, Momo explained. Izuku nodded as the class continued chatting. There was one hero he was particularly interested in. Once the school day ended, the students were about to leave when they noticed the door was blocked. Who are these? Mina shouted. They're students from other classes. They're here to scout the competition, Bakugo said. The door opened, and a group of students began shouting at the 1A students. So these are the students everyone's talking about. They seem like a bunch of show-offs, a blonde boy remarked. What did you say, Blondie? Don't make me blast you. Bakugo shouted. The blonde boy smirked. Aren't you a heroic person threatening someone? Though to be fair, no one here is heroic. Didn't he destroy 4 buildings? He pointed at Izuku. Everyone's eyes widened. Izuku scoffed. Would you like to be confronted by the reason he did all of that? Izumo asked, stepping forward. What? The boy asked, but Izumo was ready to punch him when Izuku stopped him. Taking out your insecurities on others is embarrassing, Izuku said quietly. The blonde boy heard the murmurs from the others, feeling embarrassed. He was about to rush at Izuku when a girl knocked him out with a swift move. Excuse us. He doesn't realize what he says sometimes, she stated, taking him away. A few other students attempted to enter, but only one managed to get through a tired-looking boy with purple hair. This is the hero course. Must be nice being a group of blessed teens with powerful quirks, he said. Excuse me. Izuku replied, but Izumo held his shoulder to calm him. You heard me, Mr. Angel Wings. You all are a bunch of blessed kids who don't know what it's like to struggle with bad quirks, the boy said, pushing Izuku to his limit. You have no idea what you're talking about. I was quirkless for 13 years. I activated my quirk after a life-threatening situation that forced me to survive. I was never blessed when my friends bullied me or when my parents neglected me. You don't know who you're talking to, Izuku shot back. Everyone's eyes widened. None of them knew that about him. Izumo tightened his grip on Izuku's shoulder as the other students fell silent, no one daring to speak. The following day was rather quiet as everyone stared at Izuku with a mix of pity and shock. He reassured them, saying, It's no longer that big of a deal. It's fine. Don't think that what I went through changed anything. The days passed quickly as Izuku and his classmates focused on training and answering questions about his experiences. They soon realized they were the center of attention, which led them to the sports festival stadium, where cheers erupted from the crowd. It feels awkward looking at the number of people here, Izumo mumbled as he walked behind Izuku. I know, especially since they know us as the class who survived USJ. And they know me as the boy who faced off against villains, Izuku replied as they reached their destination. Other classes were introduced, but they didn't receive the same level of cheers as Izuku's class. And now, for the introductory speech. Midnight announced in her hero costume, causing the crowd to erupt in excitement. Someone should really talk to Ms. Midnight about her costume, Kirishima remarked. It should come with a warning. Kaminari added. Is it even approved for a high school event? Tokoyami questioned. Izuku rolled his eyes, uninterested in the discussion. We can always try. To get you Hawks to present instead, Izumo joked, causing Izuku's face to turn bright red. Hawks. What do I have to do with Hawks? Also, don't act like you're as straight as a ruler, he retorted, making his twin laugh. For the students' pledge, we have Izuku Yagi of Class 1A, Midnight announced. Izuku gulped before rushing to the stage. The crowd murmured about him, both students and spectators. I hope this festival will be a great way to show our powers and prove that the upcoming generation of heroes is capable of protecting everyone. I also hope everyone gets a chance to shine equally, he stated before stepping away from the mic, simple, mindful, and short. You're playing it safe to catch the attention of the heroes, aren't you? Midnight asked. Izuku shrugged and smiled. Maybe. If it works out, then yes. If it doesn't, then I'm just lying, Miss Midnight, he replied, causing her to chuckle. Some students cheered for him, while others continued to glare and mumble. Well, that was a heroic speech from the students' representative. However, let's get into the real deal, shall we? Midnight said with a giggle, making the crowd erupt again. Now, for the first game of this awaited festival, we're going to have a screen behind Midnight displayed names that spun until it landed on one. Obstacle race, she shouted. Izuku smirked, while Izumo looked a bit nervous. Racing wasn't his strong suit. All 11 classes will participate in this race. The students will run a 4-kilometer race around the stadium. I won't be restraining anyone in this part, Midnight added, her tone playful. Izuku and the others nodded. So fights and offensive attacks are allowed, he noted as they headed to the starting gate. 3 green lights hung above the entrance, and Izuku watched as they began to fade one by one. Good luck, Zumo. You can't lose here. A race isn't where you shine, so push yourself to prove you can be a great symbol of peace, Izuku encouraged. Before Izumo could respond, Izuku surprised everyone by extending his wings and smirking as he held his brother's hands. As the last light went out, Izuku took off, letting go of Izumo once they were in front of the crowd. Good luck, big brother. I can't provide any more help. The race and cavalry battle mic continued to shout through the speakers as the students rushed forward. Izuku led the pack, followed closely by Todoroki, who used his eyes to keep pace. The students from Class 1A, familiar with Todoroki's quirk, managed to navigate through the challenges. Suddenly, Izuku spotted a large robot approaching. Oh please, using the same tricks we dealt with before. I expected more, he smiled before slicing through the robot with his wings. Those wings, how impressive, someone commented. More robots rushed toward him, and Izuku sighed. This is going to take so much time, he muttered before unleashing a series of explosions that shattered the robots and created rubble to block the other students. He then propelled himself upward, flying above the robots. Some attempted to attack him, but he easily deflected their efforts with a shield. As he flew, he noticed Izumo levitating on a metallic piece behind him. Good job, big brother. Izuku shouted, flicking his wings to gain speed. They continued this way, with Izumo, Bakugo, and Todoroki following closely. They navigated the robot-filled stage until they reached the second stage, a canyon with ropes for balancing. Izuku smirked, a plan forming in his mind. Sorry, everyone. These will only last a few minutes, he shouted as energy spikes surrounded the ropes and hills, preventing anyone from standing on them. He then flew toward the third obstacle race, with the other students using their abilities to keep up with him. Not as fast now, baby brother. Izumo exclaimed, noticing that Izuku was slowing down. His wings were still untrained, and flying at such speed was tiring them out. I don't need my speed just to finish the race, big brother, Izuku replied with a smirk. Izumo looked puzzled for a moment, but Izuku's grin widened as he pointed at the ground below them. They were in the third obstacle, the minefield. Hope you all love some explosions. I know someone does, Izuku teased as he unleashed a line of energy, causing the mines behind him to detonate and send everyone flying backward. Izuku continued to fly forward, using energy blasts to block his competitors. Meanwhile, Izumo took advantage of the explosions, propelling himself forward on his metallic piece. Just as Izuku was about to cross the finish line, he zoomed in, crossing it just a fraction of a second before his brother. Woohoo! And the Yagi twins score in the top 2. What a great show of power from the twins! Mike shouted, and the crowd erupted in cheers. Izuku took it as applause for his brother. Cheer up, lil bro, you just won the first part. Izumo said, putting an arm around Izuku's shoulders. Yeah, Izuku mumbled, gazing at the crowd. Do you think they'll ever forgive me for losing control? He asked. Izumo sighed. They will. If they don't, I'll make sure they do, he said with a scoff. I don't think that's how it works, Izuku giggled, and the brothers watched as the rest of the competitors rushed into the winning stadium. The first game of the festival is complete. Let's check the stats. In first place, we have Izuku Yagi, followed by his twin brother Izumo Yagi in second. Shudo Todoroki and Katsuki Bakugo came in third and fourth, respectively. The students of 1A are shining bright so far. Midnight announced. The students of 1A who passed immediately began cheering, while others looked on with envy. In total, 42 students managed to pass, most of whom were from 1A and 1B. Now, for those who passed, you'll have a chance to shine in the cavalry battle. Midnight declared after the spinning wheel revealed the next game. The students began to murmur. Izuku stood still, confused, as he had no idea what that entailed. Participants should form groups of 2 to 4 people as you see fit. Each group will have a point value based on the summation of every member's points from the obstacle race. Points will increase by 5, starting from the bottom. However, the contestant who scored first has a value of 10 million. Midnight explained. Izuku understood the implications of his victory as he felt the stares of his peers. Each team will receive a headband with a number corresponding to its group's points. Collect as many headbands as possible and wear them around your neck. You may use your quirks freely, but do not cause serious harm to other contestants. You will have 10 minutes to find your teammates and 15 for the battle, Midnight continued. Izuku sighed, already dreading the upcoming battle. So, baby brother, want to team up? Izumo asked, tapping Izuku's shoulder. Is that even a question? Izuku replied with a smile, earning one in return. Ida, Uraraka, want to join us? Izumo called out to his friends. I'm sorry, but I have to decline your offer. I can't just follow behind you because you're powerful. I need to grow stronger on my own, Ida stated. Izumo looked disappointed, but Izuku wasn't surprised. His friends were giving them disapproving looks. It's not shocking. We scored the highest, so we'll be targeted. No one wants to follow that path. Only you seem interested enough to do so, Zumo, Izuku mumbled. Oh, there you are. I'm glad to see you're still alone. Let me join your team, number 1, a girl announced as she approached Izuku. You're so close, he mumbled, stepping back. The girl began to ramble about using him as a test subject to impress pro heroes. I'd love to see your equipment later. However, my brother could use some help. His hands tend to get hurt when he uses his quirk, so I was wondering if you could. Izuku started to ramble about equipment and powers. He's going to waste the 15 minutes talking, isn't he? Uraraka asked. He knows he can handle everyone here. He accepted me because I'm his brother, not because he needs my help. The same goes for you and Mei over there. He has you here because I want you, and he won't deny my request. He accepts anyone who has a connection to him or sparks his interest, Izumo explained. The girl nodded as Izuku and Hatsume continued their conversation. As the clock started ticking, everyone prepared for the battle. Uraraka, Izuku, and Mei stood on the ground with Izuku on their backs. We won't focus on offense much. Instead, we'll prioritize keeping our headband safe. Our score is more than enough to secure first place. Alright students. Now that the teams are formed, let's get this party started. Mike shouted as the crowd cheered. Start in 3, 2, and 1, the hero announced. As the countdown ended, all the teams rushed forward, ready to attack Izuku's team. The teen smirked, noticing the ground turning into quicksand. We have you now, a member of 1B shouted as he and his team charged at Izuku. Need my babies? Mei asked. Nope, thank you, he replied, as energy enveloped his entire team, forming a bubble that began to levitate. Let's see what you can do now, he taunted as the energy shield glimmered in the sunlight. Suddenly, he sensed Bakugo behind him, ready to attack, while Todoroki launched an ice attack. Izuku closed his eyes for a moment, unsure of his next move while encased in energy. He glanced at his team, who were wide-eyed as the energy orb floated higher than usual. Izuku mumbled in confusion as he felt a wave of dizziness wash over him. What happened? We just appeared here. Mei exclaimed, glancing down at the studium below. From their vantage point, everyone looked so small they resembled ants. This perspective persisted throughout the exam, as Izuku and his team teleported from one location to another, the dizziness intensifying with each jump. Is he done feeling unwell? Yururika inquired, glancing toward the bathroom. Izumo shook his head. He's been in there ever since Present Mike announced our victory. It seems his ability has quite a significant backlash. Have you ever seen him use that power before? Mei asked, curiosity evident in her voice. No, he never fails to surprise me with new abilities time and again, Izumo replied, a hint of admiration in his tone.